The SUMIF function that you can see up here in cell J2 is a function that adds all values in a range that match certain search criteria that you can specify. The SUMIF function consists of the SUMIF command and then the usual bracket, and it takes 3 arguments. The first one is the range, which is a required argument, and the range is the range in which you want to find a certain criteria that you can select. The second argument is the criteria. It is also a required argument, and the criteria is a number or a certain kind of text that you wish to filter this range that you determined in step 1 by. For example, the criteria argument can be expressed as a whole number, like here from B370 for example, or can be a text like Sarah for example. And then you have a third optional argument, which is the sum range, and this is the actual cells that you want to add together if the criteria that you've specified is met. It can be the case if we're filtering by names, for example. We don't want to add any names together. This is not possible, but instead we want to add together the number of sales if a certain name criteria is met. So let's try it out with an example. So we want to calculate the total sales for Jessica, and as you can see, we have inputs for the sales number of Jessica in cell B3 as well as in B6. So here you can see that there are just 2 values that you need to add together, but if you have larger lists, it can be more complicated, and then this SUMIF function comes into handy. So in order to use it, we'll need to put in the equal sign, the SUMIF command, and then we'll open up the bracket. And the first argument is the range, and for the range we need to specify the array that we want to filter. In our case, we want to filter the names of the salespeople, which is here in column A, and with a range from A2 to A6. Then we're going to input the criteria by which we want to filter, and we can either input real text, or we could just select the cell A9, which is much more useful because we can later change the input for the cell A9 without changing the formula. So then we have input the criteria, and next we'll specify the array containing the value that we want to add. In our case, we don't want to add the name of the salespeople together, but instead we want to add the number of sales, and that would be the range from B2 up to B6. Then we need to close the brackets. Then by hitting enter, we'll get the correct result for the total number of sales for Jessica by adding the number of sales from the cell B3 70 and B6 233, which equals 303.